Hello, I'm the author of General Text Preprocessor. General Text Preprocessor is a text preprocessor that takes any text file and has all the features that you know and love from C's preprocessor, such as text replacement macros and functions, comments, conditional inclusion, but it also has some other features such as file inclusion, which allows you to include an entire file to paste it into the output. It can be used with any file, such as source code for any language, such as JavaScript, C, Java, etc. But it's mostly suited for markup languages such as HTML or Markdown. So now I'm going to go through the installation of General Text Preprocessor, and hope you can follow along. So the installation is quite simple. You simply clone the repository from GitHub. You can just clone it anywhere you like. And then you cd into the repository. Then you simply run make to compile the program. And there it is. Then you have to run sudo make install to put it in your path so you can use it from anywhere on your computer. Otherwise, yeah, you can just use it from here. So you run it into your sudo password. So, and then now the program's installed. You can just run GTPP, then it puts an input, and it doesn't really do anything unless you have an input file. It just reads some standard in. So to get started, I will show you a simple demo displaying some of the features of GTPP. So we're going to do some HTML. So we just open a file called demo.html. So I'm going to go through the features one by one. So the first feature is the ability to define text replacement macros. So if we define a macro where this is the key, so whenever you put this in the text, it will replace whatever you define it to. So define that as 3 line breaks. So if we start our HTML, and then we want to put in 3 line breaks, for example, and then we can say, add some text after it. After line breaks, then we, of course, close the body and we close the HTML. This is what happens before you compile it, so to say, or parse it with GTPP. So simply run GTPP on the document. Here's what happens, but we can put it in show.html because it allows piping from standard out. Boom. Then we can open show.html. And there you see, you have some line breaks here. So that's the first function, or the first feature. So let's try another one. If we have a lot of headers in our text, we might want to write a function that makes it a large header. So you say, we define the key as h1 when it takes 1 argument, which is the text. Then you just simply put that, and you define that the text is what goes in between the header file. So here we have defined a function macro which takes 1 argument and put it in like this. Then we can remove this and simply say h1 I header. Save, and then we run to the same thing again. Oh, sorry. It's fun as in function. Do it again. You see we got some error messages as well. Then we can Firefox that stuff again. Boom, we still got a header. For example, if we want to paste another file, we can also do that with GTPP. So we can make another file, like the body of the, and just simply this is some text. I would like it to be in this file here. Then we can open up dimensional again, and we can define a file as my file, my body. Let me simply say that it's where it resides, so body.txt. Then we can simply write my body here, run GTPP again, then we can open it and see what happens. This is some text I would like it to be in this file here. So we have some ability to actually paste entire files. We can also write comments. For example, if zero, for example, if we don't want to have this, we can just, which is false, we can put in and if, and save this again and run it again. You can see it no longer appears, so we have comments. We can also combine functions, and functions can be arguments to other functions. So for example, if you want to have some italic text inside of a p tag, you can define the function p as taking in one argument as this. We can define another function, it, which also takes some text. And we put those in italic tags. Then we can parse it again. Then we can show how it looks. We have some italic text here. If we can also, for example, if you use some macros, every time you write notes in GTPP, you can simply make a file called macros. And it doesn't really matter what the file ending is, but you can use GTPP if you like. And here we can simply add some macros. So if not, for example, this is for conditional inclusion. If not, my name is simply do everything. So my name should not be defined. So we define my name as Simon. And we also might like some simple definitions for some HTML we usually work. So we can define a macro image that takes 2 arguments. or 3 arguments that you can take the source of the image, the width, and the height. And we define that as it is in HTML. You simply say that the source goes here. You want the width to be the width, and you want the height to be the height. Then we, of course, we end with and width. So demo again. So you want to include an image, but first you want to include that file. So we simply say include, and then we take the path to the file, which is the same. Home and macros GTPP. That will include all the macros in that file. And we want an image here. Then we say that the source is home. I have or we can have this general preprocessor. So this is included with the repo. And demo image .jpg, I think it's called. We want it to be 200 by 300. Let's see if it works. Otherwise we'll get a nice error message, which seems to have worked. Then we can see how it looks. Well, we got the image, but we seem to have the wrong file. And that's not a problem with GTPP, it's simply we wrote the wrong path. So what's it called? Demo image.jpg. Oh, I forgot this. There we go. We run GTP again. And we can show it again. There we go. Here's our picture. So those are most of the features for GTPP. I want to show you another cool feature, which is that you can modify the source code so you how you like it. So if you go to the source code and we edit definitions.h, you can see that we have some definitions here. So for example, if you want to change the color of your output, you can do that. Or if you don't want underline, you can simply just remove this right here for the error messages. If you don't like the $sign as your reserved macro show, you can change it here. You can put it as a pound sign instead if you like, and then we have to change all this as well. So we're not going to do that. For example, you might like to write func instead. It's more to your liking. So you have bool true and bool false. You can change this to true and this to false. Be careful what you define your macros to, and this are the max arguments to your function, and this is max line length. You can change this as well, but just make sure it's a power of 2, and that you actually make sure it's a power of 2, and that it's too large to not suck up all your RAM. So we now change those to true and false. We have to make it again. I have to reinstall it. So make install. Sudo make install. So now if we check the source code, so to say, for the demo, you can see that they used a false here, but now it's if 0, which now it will think this is a macro, it checks in macro, and that defaults to if as long as it's not defined, it's false. So this will work, but now we can change this to if true, which is true. And we will include my body. So GTPP .html, put that into shape.html again, and then we can see that the text appears again. If you have any questions, just ask. If you would like to contribute to source code, just make a pull request. Have a good day.